We have the Andhra Pradesh DGP with us right now on the phone line. Sir, thank you for speaking with NDTV. What more can you tell us at this point about the ground situation?
Well, the situation is under control at the moment. Am I audible? Because your voice is very low.
You are very audible, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. As of now, the situation is under control. All the leakages have been taken care of. The antidote, the reaction killing inhabitant, which is also located nearby, was also being activated. And then through the morning, about 800 of them were evacuated and sent to all different hospitals. As we talk about 240 odd people are still in the hospitals. The remaining have been discharged. As regards the casualties, there are 8 confirmed so far, of which, of course, 2 was because of a fall and an accident that somebody fell into the well. Otherwise, the hospital, while undergoing treatment, we had about 6 casualties, which included 2 children, a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old girl. Otherwise, even those who are under treatment are their condition seems to be stable as of now. So situation is under control and very stable at the moment.
Mr. Gautam.
Yeah. Please.
Mr. Gautam Sawant, this is Uma here. Just wanting whether there is information about there were workers inside the premises of this plant when this accident took place?
Well, see that, Uma, it's a matter of investigation at the moment. The CM has ordered an investigation into it. So we are going to inquire into all that aspects. There were supposed to be about 25 security guards are normally deployed. And there are about, say, something like 15 odd employees who are supposed to be there maintaining this the complex. Right. So therefore, we don't know exactly how many were inside at that point of time when it leaked. So it's a matter of inquiry and investigation. We'll come out with that.
Mr. Sawant, at this point, though, the questions that seem to arise is whether the extended lockdown was in any way responsible for this situation, because this was the factory being reopened after a long time.
Well, to what extent, what predicated on this kind of an outcome is, again, as I said, a matter of inquiry. So I'm sure that the factory would have, the management would have taken care of a situation like this. I'm sure that when we deal with some substance, particularly chemical substance, there would be safety features available. So we can't just, I won't be in a position to really comment on that, because due course we'll get to know about that. But as I said, this is not a lethal or a, poisonous...
Mr. Sawant, I believe my colleague Uma also has a question. Uma, go ahead.
Please.
Mr. Sawant, this company has been identified as LG Polymers. So obviously, this is a big company that we are talking about, some company that would presumably have standard protocols in place. But Vizag per se is a huge industrial area, and everywhere across the country, in fact, we are having industries now beginning. Now, are you going to tell them about some more standard protocols that need to be in place? Because in many senses, skilled workers are moving away, and that has been a concern for many industries. In this case also, is there any information about whether they were using the locally available labor force, which may not have been best equipped to deal with recommissioning the plant?
Well, Uma, I can understand your concerns. There's a larger issue surrounding labor and the skilled laborers. But to our understanding, most of these major industries and factories and units such as this, they have in-house people living and staying and available, and those who are necessary for critical functioning of these units. But as you rightly said, whether there were some issues surrounding skilled labor availability is also, we'll come to know in due course. This is an old company. It was established in around 1966. And then LG, I think, took over sometime around 70s or something. And being a reputed company of international, multinational, I'm sure that they have been taking all precautions. But then, nevertheless, in due course, we'll get to know about that.
Mr. Sawang, you know, as we see these visuals, very, very chaotic pictures from the road where hundreds of bystanders are trying to help people into ambulances, into cars, presumably to take them to hospitals. But what we're also seeing is overcrowding and flouting of naturally all social distancing norms in these COVID times. So, you know, you're clearly having to deal with both this present situation, but also the larger question of taking precautions for COVID-19. And how is that going to be enforced?
Well, I would agree with you. I mean, there are certain limitations. The police is trying their best. Right from the start, they were the first responders on the ground. Dealing with people and public situations like this is always a challenge, no doubt about that. I'm sure, but then things will fall in place very soon. We have also rushed forces from neighboring districts and units. So very soon it will come under control towards an ideal situation, of course. We are working towards that.
And also, Mr. Sawang, have the house-to-house search operations. So, Mr. Sawang, have the house-to-house home search operations that the police and the NDRF had undertaken to try and see whether there are people inside homes who may be needing medical help but who may have fallen unconscious. Yes. Has that operation now been completed? Because it's only a limited population of about 2,000 we are talking about.
Right. Actually, right in the morning itself, we had to break open many houses which were locked from inside to make sure that, people are not left out, or just in case there are people who are not conscious. So we did come across situations like that, but fortunately, the seriousness was not to that extent. We found them, we woke them up, many of them, and they were evacuated. Because we were able to reach there in 10 minutes time from the moment the call came to our police control room. And then the fact that the police patrol had loudspeakers, that also helped to a large extent to alert the people there, to kind of set an alarm, call out for the people to leave the premises. So that kind of response within the, kind of resources that was available at that point of time, our people had really did whatever best they could, and they had a presence of mind.
Mr. Sawang, sir, if I may just ask you, there are now reports that the gas leaked from two 5,000-ton tanks, and that these tanks had been unattended since March because of the COVID-19 lockdown. Is there any confirmation of this information that this in fact led to a chemical reaction which may have caused the leakage? Have even preliminary findings corroborated such a hypothesis?
Ma'am, as I said, maybe it's a little too early for me to really comment on this, because this will be a matter of...
Is this a line of investigation you're following, sir?
Yes, ma'am. So I would not like to hazard any kind of comment on this.
What?
But it's a fact that there were two tanks there. And then it's a fact that there are systems and mechanisms in place to see that, to neutralize the antidote was also available nearby, and these are all automated systems, as I understand. But then, where did it go wrong? Is a matter of investigation. Please.
One final question from me, Mr. Sawang. What is the advisory now to the public? Are you saying that people can now go back to their homes there if you have evacuated them? Is the air safe enough? And are you still saying that they must wear the mask? Presumably, they may have left their homes open and may be worried about security of things as well.
Yes, I mean, they have sprayed a lot of water in the village. I believe things have settled down. But then those odometers, the meters which really, measure this vapor, they are being sourced and being deployed to make sure that there is nothing noxious substance in the air. what I understand as a layman, I believe that is all clear. But to really confirm, I mean, house to house, they may just move around and then check the odometer. So question of safety and security, there's not a matter of concern at all, because there's sufficient number of police forces also deployed in and around the village. So that should not be an issue, man. Yeah. And then our Honorable CM is already on en route. He has been monitoring. We have all been monitoring since the early morning. We have been mobilizing our resources from all over, including the medical and other safety measures as well. So things are stable as of now. It is under control, absolutely. I mean, that should be the message.
And people are getting back to their homes, sir?
They are getting back to the home. There were some displacements.
And people are getting back to their homes there?
They are getting back. And the visuals that what you are seeing are, visuals dating back to early hours. So therefore, it should not be really the same situation. Things have changed and improved vastly from what one can see. Yeah.